Yes, you're right. There was no sat. Damn. Damn. How did you know?
Someone PM'd me on Discord.
Okay. Well, I feel bad now. I was quite pleased with the commentary actually. So here's what you do: you imagine some really excellent commentary, and we'll just continue as normal. But don't worry, you've not really missed anything. The players are now going up to the Colonial Age. The game has sort of just begun. Let's recap Age 1, so to speak. Looks like Dutch got the better Age 1. They found the 90 wood treasure there. Aside from that, both players just picking up the small bobbies that aren't really hugely interesting. And that 90 wood going to allow Pérez to get his bank down and get that villager in queue nice and easily for the Dutch player. But yes, aside from that, normal things. We didn't see a market in the start for Germany. They left their coin on the floor. But they do now have a trading post and a market, which they got in transition. And, of course, the Dutch player now up to the Colonial Age. A little bit faster than Germany to be expected. 400 wood on the floor. And we're about to see what he does with the wood. And really, that's the summary of the game so far. And maybe all Age of Empires games should start in the Colonial Age, Mitoe. Well, not in the Colonial Age, but you know what I'm saying. Maybe
I sort of see what you're saying. But I wonder if he's walking over to this trading post for a reason. It looks like he is. He's going to be dropping a second trading post with that 400 wood. Looks like he is still sending 3 settler wagons first, so he's going to not be trading any Uhlans, most likely. I think he might just be going for sort of the 3 settler wagons, 700 wood, sort of straight FF. Which will give him some really strong early fortress timings, potentially. Against this, what looks to be a greedy Dutch play with the 3rd bank going down already.
Yeah, and no military building. I don't know, this is just not how I've been playing Dutch recently. It looks like you don't actually need to make a stable or a barracks super early, and you can get away with that. Yeah, he's not even going to build it off of this last little bit of wood here. He's just going to save the wood for his hunting dogs and steel traps. No, he is going to get a stable, never mind then. And still has a little bit of wood to spare for the hunting dogs. But yeah, he's not intending... he's definitely being quite greedy, and that seems like it'll pay off quite nicely against Germany. We don't see a stable from them at all, so the only pressure coming will be these 2 Uhlans that he's gotten for free, and they're not going to be too much of a threat with the town centre. Could be a little bit pesky forcing the villagers in, but they won't last too long. I think ultimately Pérez, with all these banks, going to be quite pleased. But, yeah, Germany. Okay, so 3 settler wagons and 2 settler wagons, and spent his wood on getting the trading posts here, and presumably is upgrading them to stagecoach with the other 200, and is just going to gather to age by the looks of it. He's macroed to do that, and going to skip his 700 gold and just get up perhaps with an extra shipment, so to speak.
Yep. He has to be a little bit careful, though. I'm pretty sure he spotted that stable with those Uhlans, and there are some Hussars coming out. He will have 4 Uhlans of his own to sort of defend against that, but 4 Uhlans do not exactly beat 4 Hussars. Although, once they're in the base, it should be alright. But, yeah, I don't think Pérez is... I really wish I knew how to pronounce that name, but I don't think Pérez is really aware of this just yet. I think he might have an inkling, having seen only 2 Uhlans at this point. But I think he'll probably be rather defensive with those Hussars anyway. Until now. Gonna start... Nope. Okay, yeah, he is going to be rather defensive with those. But anyway, 700 wood is now in. Infrastructure is going up for Germany, and the age-up is in queue, so the barracks and stable coming down. It is going to be exiled prince for GiBthedurrty. I imagine stagecoach is now on the way with that 700 wood. Most likely. Maybe not, actually, looking at how many resources he has. It's possible. We'll see. But, yeah, he's going to have a shipment ready when he hits up, and he's going to be able to start training Uhlans in transition here and add some skirmishers in Fortress, and he'll have a pretty... Well, actually, I don't even know if there will be a timing, as Pérez is about to click up himself. He's just started aging with the exiled prince as well, and I think he'll be up before Germany can really have any units out. However, he only has 4 banks instead of 5, so if he wants to add that 5th bank, he might be a little bit vulnerable for a moment.
Yeah, only going up with 4. Definitely helps with the age-up time. Can add in the next one later on. I'm interested to see what his first shipment will be. We've seen 1,000 wood come out of previous Dutch games that we casted. But, we'll see. For the time being, 4 banks. Looks like, though, GiB starting to mess up the Uhlans, and is now up to Fortress Age, so we'll be seeing his next shipment, or his first Fortress Age shipment, at any moment now. I thought he got this stagecoach with the 400 wood. I must have been mistaken then, so I wonder if it is coming
I don't
in.
think...
It seems like... oh, here we are, 1,000 wood. Okay, so GiB going to be starting with 1,000 wood, which he'll for sure get the stagecoach with, among other things. Looks like a bunch
I would
of
be
houses.
super surprised if he didn't get it. There we go. 200 food, 200 wood, I believe, just went down. So
yeah, and a second.
Unless he invested
as well.
that into like 2 villagers and spent 200 wood at the same time on something I didn't see, it's got to be stagecoach.
Yeah, you
so
queued 2 villas and made 2 houses, and you didn't notice.
Yeah, I can't see how I didn't miss the houses though. They take time to construct. But anyway, 1,000 wood is very nice as Germany. You spend that very, very quickly as you burn through population faster than most other civilizations. It'll also help him get that veteran Ulan upgrade, maybe some houses, as I already mentioned, and that stagecoach upgrade. On the other side of the map, though, it's just going to be 9 Reuters for Pérez, and he's going to be moving across the map with that a little bit. 4 Hussars sort of hanging back, but I imagine they'll join their friends eventually, I hope. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And, yeah, this is a little bit more aggressive than we normally see Dutch being in any matchup, really. Not having that 1,000 wood is going to mean he's only going to be having 1 Rax and 1 stable for the time being, and no 5th bank going to be coming up for him. But he will be walking across this trading post line, seeing the stagecoach upgrade in if he's paying attention to the state of that road. And I don't know how much he can really do here. He has a really small skirmisher mass, only a reinforcing batch of 2 skirms coming behind this as well, and I think Gib is going to be totally fine against any of this pressure here. Those Dutch units are just going to be forced to go on home.
It makes
not
sense.
Accomplishing too much there.
Makes sense why he's out here, right? He only bought the 4 banks. He wants to make use of the fact that he is going to be up faster and have units faster. So it makes sense to be across the map. But Germany, they're able to get... Well, he hasn't sent 8 skirms or anything like that. But Germany, either way, can 1,000 gold is going to fund a lot of skirmishes. He's basically got more skirmishes, and there's just not a lot you can do. You can see he's just sort of standing here, sort of awkwardly waiting for skirmishes to come in. Probably waiting for his next skirm shipment and batch of skirms. But, yeah, didn't really get all that much done. Perhaps a 5th bank would have been better. But, such is the way of things. It's still ahead on economic population.
Is he ahead, though?
40.
With the stagecoach in, it's
Oh,
probably
that's right.
roughly equal at the moment. And then on top of that, Germany just has better shipments, so it might actually be a bit rough for Dutch, I feel like.
That's true. Okay.
And 13 Jaegers coming in now as well for Germany, so he's going to have a really hard time dealing with this skirmisher match. You know what? You guys know what I'm trying to say, so...
I like skirmisher match. I think we should call them that. Skirmisher. We should call them skirmishers and matches. Skirmisher match.
Shut up, I'm sick.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my excuse.
Gonna get a few
But
volleys
anyway, the
on
Reuters
these.
going to be coming in trying to get
Yeah.
a couple of shots off on the Uhlans here. The Hussars going to be snaring the skirms as well.
He's trying
But
to
the
take this
Jaegers coming in
fight.
behind this, I think, might be able to force this back. But he's going to trade off a lot of these Uhlans, which is a pretty good trade for Dutch overall, I think. So I don't think he'll be too unhappy about that, but I don't know at this point if, after seeing Jaegers, if you really want to continue investing into skirmishers, especially when you're only on 1 barracks, it's going to be pretty difficult to...
Yeah, looks like he's got veteran
mass
Hussar
enough.
in now. So I think you're right. Perhaps looking for a switch. It's not like, yeah, for sure looking for a switch. He's got no Hussars. He's got 2 Hussars, right? One of which is very low HP. So he's seen the Jaegers and he's thinking, right, I'd better... I can't really match that by massing skirms, so I'm going to add in a unit that's good against them, and I'm going to make the Hussar. So going to do that. Looks like it's what he's got in queue. But
Yeah,
GiBthedurrty, he knows this, right? He's probably expecting something. So going to be making a few war wagons to deal with potential Hussars.
Yep, but it's 1,000 wood coming in next for Dutch. And this is a rather slow shipment, especially at this stage of the game. It's going to let him get down a couple more military buildings and some houses and stuff like that, maybe that 5th bank, but that's going to take a while before it really starts paying off here, and the German army is now moving in. Nothing really to contest them on the front here. Going to pick off one Ville? No, that Ville does get garrisoned safely, but okay. Not going to be too aggressive here. He's going to stick around out front here, but not going to push straight in. And yeah, there's a batch of Hussars coming out. There's an artillery foundry coming down, actually.
Oh, nice.
That might be his answer to the skirmisher mass here. It would take him a long time to mass up maybe enough Hussars to feel comfortable. And, you know, if like Black Riders or something come, it could just be like futile. But cannons, on the other hand, going to be a little bit harder for the German army to deal with, maybe. So, kind of liking that decision at the moment, and he's doing an okay job of holding at the front here.
Yeah, everything seems to be going fine. And with the 1,000 wood, it looks like he's going to not be punished for it, so that's nice. And I think he'll be pleased that he's got that out. He can add in all the houses which he needs, which he's sort of doing now, and possibly get that 5th final bank up. I'm not sure. Maybe just save the resources for production. But so there we see a lot of Reuters coming forward, but skirmishers going to make their way through that hole between the market and the bank, and the Reuters also going to scare off the Uhlans there. Continuing to fight, but with the skirms. I wonder,
Yep.
I feel like the German skirm mass is better just because Jaegers are really good.
Yeah, it definitely is. But there's 3 Falcons in queue, and they should be popping any moment now. And there we go. Now that those Falcons are out, I think he's not going to be having too many more issues with these skirmishers. So the pathing with the Reuters and the Falcons here is pretty rough at the moment. But they do finally get into bombard mode, not in the ideal location, but it's enough to force the German army back. I'm not sure if he saw them, but okay, here we go. He'll see them now. There's going to be a volley.
He'll
Does pick off one Jaeger and get some damage in. Yeah. But the Uhlans, okay, they're not going to go right in. And now at this point, as Germany, what do you do? I'm going to lose a couple of Uhlans here to these Reuters, it looks like. These trades are actually just going really well for Dutch overall. I feel like as Germany, you might have to, like, with the mass of this army, it's going to be really difficult for you to try and kill those cannons. I think he might have to add an artillery foundry himself, maybe add a couple culverins at this point.
Yeah, that would seem sensible, right? That'd be one way to deal with the cannons there. Otherwise, you're just sort of hoping for them to come out in the open, and it's kind of difficult to get to them. There's a lot of units at this point for Dutch. He's got a lot of Reuters. There's a lot of skirms as well. Just a lot of stuff generally covering up, making it hard to get to those cannons. But no artillery foundry in queue just yet. Going to continue to mass skirms and Uhlans. Does find a few villages, though. A little bit. That's the one thing those cannons are a little bit awkward for, is getting around.
Immobile for sure, but it looks like Dutch might try to force a fight here with the German army sort of being cornered against this lake or river here.
Does find the cannons.
Not getting protected super well. One does go down. I don't think all of them will go down. Looks like he's going to get a really nice trade overall. There's Uhlans coming in from the back, though, again getting onto this the Falconettes. One is going to go down, and actually, suddenly this fight not going to go super well for Dutch. Didn't protect those Falcons quite well enough, but the military population is still relatively even. And it looks like Dutch is going to hang on.
Yeah, it looks like he's done okay. It looked quite, for a moment, scary with 9 Uhlans coming in from the back, especially with Cav combat. But I think the Falconettes, yeah, he lost one, but they did sort of enough damage to the skirms, and it seems that the Reuters, they didn't die out as much as they might have done if there were more German skirmishers, if the Falconettes had done less damage to them. But overall, yeah, Dutch seems to be absolutely fine. He's lost all the cannons, but they got a good trade, so I think not going to be unhappy about that.
Yeah, definitely kept him back in the game, but not out of it yet. There's a better skirmisher mass for Germany here, but the Reuter is going to come in and even that up, sort of. An 8 Uhlan ship and a batch of Uhlans coming as well behind this.
That's a lot of Uhlans.
Dutch has Hussars, though.
Yeah, going to be able to put them out in front of the skirms. Okay, so for the time being, seems alright. He's managed. The Uhlans don't seem too interested in going in. Just a bit too many Reuters and perhaps those hussars as well. We are going to see a fight, actually, but those Uhlans sort of dropping away, and Green realizing this and not wanting to continue trying to pull away from that. Does pick up that last hussar and is now able to escape with nothing snaring him there. And ultimately, Dutch now looking in a very solid position. Economies, looks like Germany is ahead just because of the trade route, as we mentioned. But Dutch, I think, up in military population, and I think they're in a fine spot. Though, having said that, village is quite spread out. The coin, and this sort of happens on Fertile Crescent. You sort of get, oh, and look, settler wagons coming in as well, and Uhlans, this is not ideal. And then the food village is all the way on the other side of the map. So it's kind of tough to be everywhere and defend all of your stuff. I often see people sort of gathering all on one side of the Fertile Crescent so that they don't have to have their villages all split up like that. But he's going to find some settler wagons of his own to kill with his skirms, whilst the Reuters race forward to repel the raid. Did lose a couple of villages by the looks of it, and Green going to consolidate. Oh, but actually, I think Blue, after killing these settler wagons, despite losing some villages of his own, is now ahead on economy. And yes, Green will even that up with his trade route, but just a moment ago I was saying it was ahead in Green, but now even.
Yeah, and this is also the stage in the game where Dutch starts to get a little bit of an advantage because they have those banks. They don't need natural resources as much. He's added in that 5th bank a little while ago as well. And yeah, he's looking to be in a really good spot. Economy's still relatively even as long as Germany has access to natural resources, but that's not going to last forever, although this gold mine is going to last him for at least 2,000 more gold, so he should be alright for the time being. And he's sort of pushing back, but the army is just getting scarier and scarier for Dutch behind this, it looks like.
Yeah, Dutch just sort of have that victory condition in a sense where they don't really mind the game going later and later. I mean, at some point that's bad for them because they only have 50 vills, but it seems like if you're playing proactively, you're just going to be ahead because, as you said, those banks, you don't need so much access to the natural resources, and you just have more economy.
Yeah, definitely. And Uhlans not going to be able to do much against this Reuter mass, and the mass of skirmishers is looking to be in favor of the Dutch player now. And it looks like Gib is going to... He can't quite decide if he wants to force a fight or not, but looking at how many hussars are there now reinforcing, he's going to be forced to back off. And he's going to be forced off of this gold mine as well in a moment here. He might try to fight before that happens. The ones are going to come in while the Reuters are a little bit away. But I think overall, at this point, I don't know if Dutch really cares so much. Although like, he's getting a pretty good position here.
Very good positioning for Germany. Like, the Uhlans exactly where they want to be. And yeah, seems good. But as you were saying, he's just got more stuff.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the Zuda Zuda more stuff principle reigns supreme once again. And I think that this first game might actually be going over to Pérez, which I think is a little bit unexpected for people. I think Gib is probably the favorite in this series, so nicely played from him so far. It's not over just yet, but it's getting pretty close, and he's starting to add in his own trading posts as well, so he might be looking to grab Stagecoach himself to sort of push that lead a little bit further.
And more settler wagons going to go down. Not ideal.
Yeah, 2 go down. And being forced off that gold mine, looking on the 5k mine on the right side, there's only 700 gold left in there. And I think once that runs out, that's going to be GG for Germany. He's also sitting on 900 wood at the moment that he's not really able to invest into anything. Maybe a plantation, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, well, there you go. But not really what you want to be building. You want to be gathering the gold.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, and also, like, skirmisher combat, yeah, there it is, coming in. And Dutch now is just going to be very, very scary, because at some point that card will be sent, and you just can't keep up with their skirmishes once it comes out. Like, now...
Yeah, at this stage, all they have to do is just continue sending upgrades and matching the military mass of Germany, and as long as those upgrades keep coming in, they'll be in a really nice position. And yeah, it looks like the second trading post is going to come down. Stagecoach is going to come in, pushing that economic lead even further ahead. than it already is. And Miniman being called here with the 8 skirmisher shipment and a batch of Ulans. Going to try to force a fight here. He has a slight advantage in the numbers of skirmishers, it looks like. But I don't know if it'll be enough. It might be enough to buy him a little bit more time, but...
Yeah, where are those vills going now? Looks like the gold vills are going to head onto the berries or perhaps the woods. But this is what he needs. He needs to force back the Dutch. There's a silver mine here. It's got 1,600 gold in it. And if he can get back on that mine, he might be still okay. Although it's kind of tough for the reasons we mentioned, skirmisher combat and other upgrades that could come in. And plus he's sort of 10 villages down. Yeah, if he can get back on the gold, he's not just out. But there is a lot of stuff here for blue.
Yeah, and that stagecoach upgrade is now in, so he's up probably close to, when you take into account that Germany also has a stagecoach, probably... Well, I guess it just negates it, right? So he's up 12 vills.
Yeah. But
and,
we do see a very, very ambitious artillery boundary placement.
Yeah, I mean... If you can petard all of the banks, maybe it's okay.
You just rally petards to each bank, batches of petards, and you hope your opponent doesn't notice that there's an artillery foundry in their base.
He could also he could just be trolling. Point. I mean,
yeah, maybe.
He's down like 50 score. Maybe he knows that he's behind.
Maybe you have to take risks when you're this far behind, and that was his way of like hoping that it would pay off.
It was an interesting attempt. But this fight, though, is going to be going the way of Dutch. The Ulans do get cleaned up. The Reuter is going to be getting on top of the skirmishers here. Yes. One advantage of ranged cavalry is that they don't go into melee when they're within melee range, so they can continue using their ranged attack, whereas the skirmishers, on the other hand, are forced into melee when attacking a unit that is in melee range.
That's clever, and then they do less damage to you. I like it.
Yep, and yeah, anyway, the first game goes over to Pérez, so...
Hot
well
damn.
played by him overall.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching that. That was a really, really cool game, actually. That was really fun. So, congratulations to Pérez picking up the first victory. Let's take a look at the post-game here, and I want to go straight to that villager graph. Often when you're up against Germany, it's the raids you sort of have to be dealing with. But Pérez, okay, there was some sort of raids here and some idling of the villagers as well. But ultimately, he came out on top. I felt like there was a lot of trades sort of in the middle of the map that were going, like, just even. And I think Germany may have been better served to have, like, a couple of Ulans sort of raiding here and there. Like, the Blues villages were very split up a lot of that game. I'd like to have seen some more sort of successful raids, perhaps. But,
yeah, he was being pretty conservative with his Ulans, for sure.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair to him... most of Dutch's villagers are pretty safe at home on these berries. He's got like 30 vills over here. Only some of them are gathering, but he had basically most of his villagers were still at home.
Yeah. Oh, I had a question. Oh, well, let's head out of the game and get into the next one. But I'm kind of a big fan of the berry patches. I'd really like to see... like, I really wish Age of Empires was designed in mind with, like, every map has, like, 3 berry patches next to your TC.
Okay.
I just think, like... I mean, it's not ideal to be on berries, but at least the game just doesn't end when you have no hunt. You can sort of play on a bit, and especially at the lower level, I think that would make it more kind of interesting. I think the games would sort of get to the late game a bit more often, which seems to be, you know, most games that people go, oh, that was exceptional, are really longer ones. So, those are my thoughts.
Right. I think they're all right. I mean, most of the maps that have, or that don't have berries are the ones that have a lot of resources already in your base, right? Like on High Plains, for example, or Kamchatka, where you can get like 2 or 3 really big hunts under your town center very early. And, are we gonna... switching to Game Ranger, I guess?
I'm turning the stream off. It'll be back up in 2 minutes. We're back. Sorry about the delay, but you got to do what you got to do to, etc., etc. Spawning in the bottom of the map in the color blue, we do indeed have Yiskrai, aka Pérez, playing as the Russia, spawning with wood and coin. So it will be a coin start. And India also will get a coin start. The map is fertile, not Pampas. Yes, it is. Oh my... Yes.
It's Pampas, yes.
There we are. There we are. And looks like Pérez will have 40 coin in base there. And he's going to pick that up nice and early. And now going to head on over to those yaks with just the one scouting unit. So let's see how many not yaks, llamas he does manage to pick up with that. But India, they spent, by the looks of it, no time at all and have rushed over to the yak spawns. My goodness, they're not yaks. Why do I keep calling them that? I have no idea. But is going to be able to start picking them up right away. And it looks like Russia took a fairly sort of bottom. He's not too ambitious with his scouting. It looks like India will actually get a couple of extra llamas as a result there. And that's good for India. He's going to be quite pleased about that. But such is the way of things when you have just the one scout. But Russia was his civilization of choice. But yes, India in the top of the map. I think I said that. And the score is 1 to Pérez here in the blue.
Yep, and I don't know. What do you think of this matchup? What are your initial impressions?
You training me? Are you testing me here? Okay.
I'm testing you, yes.
So I think Russia versus India, I've heard a lot on the Thar Desert is sort of no good, so I don't see why it would be any different here. This is a non-trading post map. And India just having skirmishers and dragoons essentially in age 2 will make it kind of tough for Russia. But yeah, and also there's no trading posts. So I feel like it's a little bit awkward for Russia. But either way, could still be aggressive. And I still think there's opportunity perhaps early on to do well. But it's still a bit dicey.
Yeah, certainly... I think you're right. It's certainly going to be a difficult matchup for Russia, I think, just because Russia wants to be aggressive, but it's so hard to be aggressive against Russia when they've got this 5,000 HP.
That sounds like a smackdown.
Fort.
I like that. 500,000 hit
points.
No,
that's too much. That's too much interjection. Anyway, they have a 5,000 HP Egger Fort in the base that does area damage on top of, like, 3 batches of Minutemen and Indian monks that do really well against your Strelets and all this stuff, and does manage to pick up the treasure. But the point is, like, India just have so many defensive tools on top of not really needing map control as early as other civilizations that Russia just doesn't have a lot that they can really do in the early game. On top of Russia, like, not really being able to use the Fortress Age all that effectively, which is sort of one of India's weaknesses, is civs that can get up to Fortress really early and abuse Falconets and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a rough matchup for Russia, for sure.
But what is even and completely mirrored is their build orders. And that's always the case in Russia-India mirrors up to the 5-minute mark.
The good old wood trickle. But it's not the same. The wood trickle for India is
it better?
I think it's... No,
it's 1
it's
point.
not. Never mind.
I was going to say, it's the same card, right?
Never mind. But you do get a villager with it.
Yeah, you do. That actually makes it strictly better. But that's just India's bonus. Russia...
Yeah,
India
sorry.
I was about to say India don't have blockhouses, but they sort of kind of do have one big blockhouse. So actually...
I was getting confused because on the old fan patch, long ago, there was a change where the Indian wood trickle was just strictly worse.
Oh.
It's only like 1 per second instead of 1.25.
That's not very nice.
India and Japan just got nerfed into the ground on the old fan patch. So
on the Zuta
unlucky
fan patch?
for them. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Well,
that one.
Such is the way of things. The fan patch 1.2, I believe that was called. God, I feel like a historian now. Like I'm privy to all of these funky, like, all these different names of things. It's quite, I don't know, maybe everyone is now. There's got to be some new people that aren't familiar with all of these. Anyway, shall we get into this? So, Pérez, here he is in the blue. Now up to the second age there with the Quartermaster. And we have forward blockhouse about to be constructed just as he ages up there. And let's switch on over to units in queue. and nothing just yet, but we'll cue some musks, I imagine, once he gets the musketeers enough food for them. But what he did prioritize was the villager batch, so by no means just being idle or lazy, he's just making sure he gets villagers out there. Still nothing in queue at the blockhouse just yet. Wow, he really is taking his time. But India now just gotten up as well, and Agrafort in base by the looks of it, and quite a nice herd. Looks like that'll be quite easy to bring it back underneath the town centre. 10 Strelets now in queue for Yiskri, aka Pérez here. So I'm wondering, you know, starting with those, and yeah, 5 Cossacks going to come out. It's a little bit sort of delayed. I was wondering if Russia needs to be a bit quicker. I feel like that's their... I don't know what I'm saying. I guess they're
their bread and butter.
What they need to do. Yeah. Do you think it was slow, or am I just being overly critical?
No, I think this is a pretty normal time for them.
Okay. Bless you.
The location of this Agrafort doesn't actually cover all that much. The gold mine on the right here, that actually does give Russia sort of a point, like a pressure point, that he can continue pushing into potentially. Later on here, as the Agrafort won't be able to reach all the way to that gold mine. And those vills are going to have to keep walking back and forth. But anyway, units start pushing in here. I don't know if you'll be able to do too much with those Gurkha and the potential for Minutemen. And these monks going to be pretty effective against this army, although one is going to go down as the infantry isn't there to support them.
But I sold me. Yeah.
And
the Cossacks have found their way onto the Gurkha there. And,
yeah, he's getting a pretty good trade here at the moment.
Yeah, sentries are cool. That's going to force him off for the time being, but not before the Strelets get a volley on them, and also managing to pick off a villager. Does get the snare and finishes off. It dies. So we're going to get those Cossacks away. But ultimately, Pérez here, I think he's going to be fine with that. Not gonna. I think that was quite reasonable for him, and I think it's important that you mention that coin mine. That's actually very, very true. So Russia, don't count them out. This is a good spot to push in on. If he can come back in with his next timing, then it could be solid. Looks like 10 more Strelets have arrived, and not going to follow up the aggression with another military unit shipment. Instead, going to make a stable here and go with sort of into Cossacks. But behind this is villages.
Yeah, and
gone.
I was just going to say, and India... I've been seeing this a lot with basically every Indian player recently, and I don't know how I feel about it because I feel like it's really slow, but they always open with the wood trickle in these matchups, like against Russia and Aztec, instead of something like 600 wood. And sure, you're going to get a lot of extra resources as a result, but you're delaying your stable and your market upgrades and everything by so much that I'm not sure it's actually worth it. And because you have to chop more wood, you also don't have as many units that you can train and stuff like that. And as a result, this next timing here for Russia could actually potentially be pretty scary. You can see, like, India's only just now getting his market up. I mean, he has the Ottoman consulate, which is nice. He has access to those Minutemen, but he doesn't have a stable or anything. He doesn't really have a lot of units out, and it looks like this could be a little bit scary for him as a result, with a batch of 5 Cossacks coming from the stable, and he's shipped 700 gold now. So it's going to be a little bit of a slower timing, but his next shipment will be available to him pretty soon, like in under a minute. So once that comes in, this could be a pretty scary timing for him. And he's even shipping 4 Soar, just because I guess he's anticipating sort of another push coming, but that's going to delay stuff like his stable even more. And his unit composition's just not looking super great against Strelet Cossack here.
Yeah, let's switch on over to military units there. There's a lot of Strelets and Cossacks. 19 Strelets, 13 Cossack there. Sort of looking around on the side with them. He's not going to find any villages over here. I wonder if he's got that sort of scouted. I don't think his Explorer ever went up that far, just because, well, you're scouting the bottom half of your map for the llamas there. But he's going to look around and actually might get lucky. It looks like we do see one villager here. This is a classic, I think, raid with every unit you have moment. Or maybe he just wants to push in on this side, right? Because there's not that much hunt in the base, and probably expecting him to sort of come out that side. Anyway, this is where the units are at. 13 Strelets have now just arrived.
Ouch, they come out at the TC.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
It's going to delay his push by quite a bit, actually. And at this point, it's approaching the point where the wood trickles started to pay off. So, not not looking too bad for India now. Although he still doesn't have a stable, I will point that out. So these 4 Sowars and potentially maybe 3 Hussars from the consulate in a moment here as he approaches 400 export will be the only cavalry he has. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this could still be a little bit of a scary timing with this big, massive Strelet and Cossack coming in.
Yeah. But let's take a look at the economy behind this, though. India is ahead, and he's just gotten his market up, so he's now starting to get the upgrades in. If he can survive this pressure, then maybe it's okay. But here we go. It could be quite frightening. That's a lot of Strelets there, but let's see how it goes. Hussars, Sowars coming in. They found their way onto the Strelets, which is nice, but the Cossacks, they do come in, and it looks like those Sowars trying to get back here. Looks like this is pretty good for Russia.
Well, you say that, but some of the micro from India is doing all right here, pulling those cavalry back towards the sea point and stuff like that. He's actually doing really well in this fight, and no musketeers really left for him, and all the Cossacks are down, and there's still a decent amount of cavalry left, and Strelets are kind of useless here right now.
Yeah.
So all things considered, it's actually gone relatively well for India, I think.
Yeah, but there are no more. That last cav is about to go down, so these Strelets, they are sort of safe for the time being. Those Sowar, Sepoy, rather, can get one more volley, but now the Strelet's able to escape. And looks like India's okay then. He survived the pressure and has a stronger economy. And a second barracks now coming in to support double production from that.
As well as a second stable, actually.
Nice. So, looks like India, absolutely fine. And I think that was Russia's moment to really do some damage in this game. And sort of... But, yeah, it's going to be hard now.
Yeah, India's reached the point in the game where their units are just going to be so much stronger than Russia. And their unit composition is going to be a little bit more versatile and stuff like that. So at this stage, it's going to be difficult for Russia to win. He does have Boyars in now, which is going to make those Strelets quite a bit stronger, although there's nothing here to defend them from these Sowars. A bunch of Cossacks coming in now, though, as he forces those away. But, yeah, I don't know. India's also got still a lot of hunt and base he can use, although there is a native scout on top of it, but the Soar's coming back in.
Oh, God, it's kind of... the Cossacks just not in the right place to defend against them. If the Cossacks could be in front of the Strelets and straight onto the Sowar, it might have been fine, but it took them a while to really get there, and as a result, the Sowars get lots of prods on those Strelets, and actually just all of the Cossacks going down, but still a few Sowar left, so these Strelets not looking too good. Having said that, though, there is a big batch of 5 Cossacks plus the 4 shipment coming in, but it's a little too late. The Sowars have done the damage, and now it will die just as the Cossacks arrive, but the Strelets, they are quite good against the heavy infantry, so are going to be able to sort of push back here.
Yeah, and that kind of opens up the potential for a raid, and he knows that these are here. Like, he's got the native scout there, so this could actually be dangerous for India all of a sudden.
Yeah, that looks really, really juicy. He's coming in now.
He doesn't spot the ones on the gold mine, though.
So that's good for India here.
Oh, and the monk's going to come in for the flank, and this Cossacks, again, not in the right position to defend against the Sowar here, although he does have a lot of Cossacks now.
Stomp! No. He has got a lot of Cossacks, and that's... But what he doesn't have is a lot of Strelets, which is kind of what you need to deal with the Sepoy here. Sowars are going to find themselves on top of these Strelets again, and those Cossacks getting a bit too ahead of themselves. They need to head back to defend their sort of buddies there. Maybe he can pull the Strelets away. Cossacks now coming forward, forcing them away. Second blockhouse, or third even, going down on this hunt and mine here. So, Russia's still okay for map control, but as this game goes on, it only gets more India favoured. He's got a stronger economy, and the potential perhaps to grow the economy more quickly with a villager from each shipment. Though, having said that, actually, I think Russia probably will catch up at some point. But for the time being, India ahead.
Yeah, definitely. And, I don't know, this is just like, Russia is normally one of the civs that we say has one of the strongest late colonials right? And you don't want to be in late colonial against Russia, but India is maybe the only civ that has a stronger late colonial than Russia, just because they actually have access to units like the Gurkha and the Zambrak that he hasn't been mixing in yet, but he definitely can. They also have those really nice camel upgrades, which are actually not... Well, most people say that camels are not very good, or Soars at least are not very good, but against Russia, they're definitely good. So
Raid here. He's going to pick up a couple of ills, but Soar are going to come in to deflect that. Yeah, not making any Gurkha and Zambaraks just yet. I wonder why. I feel like as India, at least you want to mass up... Well, it seems like he's got his big, massive sepoy now, so adding a Gurkha, like, going forward seems fine, because the sepoy can protect the Gurkha, and by the time all the sepoys start dwindling off and, sort of die, you should have some Zambaraks out as well. So maybe this is a good time to start the switch. I wonder why he's deciding sort of not to. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I mean, at this point, I don't know if it matters that much, just because... The range on the Gurkha isn't actually going to matter so much when you have cavalry to snare the army anyway. Like with these 15 Soar and the 10 Tiger Claws, the extra damage on the Sepoy is probably just going to be more valuable. He's also just seen mostly Strelet, right? I mean, now he's seen that there's a lot of Musketeers.
Yeah.
And Gurkha don't do any additional damage to Strelets. But anyway, there might be a fight here, as the Indian army is going to push in with those Tiger Claws and a few Zambraks mixed in to deal with the Cossacks. But it's looking like Russia just doesn't have the mass. If you look at the military population, it's not even including the Tiger Claws, and every one of India's units is just a little bit stronger than Russia's, so this is looking scary. I mean, he's under the 2 blockhouses, but I don't think the blockhouses are going to be super impactful here. And yeah, the army is just melting from Russia here.
There's 36 Sepoy in there and only 20 Musks. It's just not looking like a good time. It does have a batch of Strelets appear, mind you, Boyars as well. But and that seems like it's going to be enough for GiBthedurrty to want to get back here.
Yeah.
He's not wanting to deal with those Strelets just yet.
He's got like 10 Sepoy that weren't in the fight, that were just sort of sitting at the back.
My God, I think he might have lost more units than we realized. Let's take a look at units lost here. I think there was a raid sort of in the back of the base. Hello?
Hi. This is not looking great. Okay, both players are here at least.
Yes.
So we're not going to have a drop or anything.
It's all
That'd
good.
be quite sad.
He's only lost 2 villages, actually. So there was this raid in the back there that I found quite concerning. But Russia just going to push forward. I guess Russia just knows... Well, he's catching up in villages. In fact, he's ahead. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a couple of nice raids too. So... So the unit composition that Gib is going for here, with this Sepoy Soar type of stuff, is one that's like really explosive. Like if you win a fight, it snowballs really, really hard, right? But if you don't win the fight decisively, like those reinforcements being enough to hold for Russia there, then his unit composition isn't the most like cost effective in the world. And that's sort of where Gurkha Zambrak starts to be a little bit more appealing, because you can just kite forever with the extra range on the Gurkhas, and the Zambraks with the camel upgrades just melt through Cossacks and stuff like that. So I wonder if we'll see a little bit of a transition soon. He has Soars in queue at the moment, but might come to mind maybe. All right, here we go.
The game continues.
But yeah, it's actually, after that fight, it's not looking so bad for Russia. It didn't go as badly as we thought it might have.
Yeah, he seems okay, and he's ahead on Vils again. And he's sort of got the map control with these 3 blockhouses.
Yeah, although he has to maybe think about doing something about all these villagers on the right side at some point.
Yeah. I wonder, I'd like to see, do people do this sort of, you could wall up that passage as Russia, if you send a sneaky vill over there or something. That'd be a real pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more...
I've seen it done before, for sure, but not super often.
I'd like to see more sneaky wall tricks in AoE 3. Or maybe that's not a good position to take in the current meta.
I feel like the community would be really mad at you for having that opinion, but I do think it's something that's a little bit underdone with how good it can be sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
looks
look
like
at
India's
this!
going
Look
to
at
be.
this! Yeah, I like it. Mind you,
That's going to help secure these resources quite a bit for himself.
defensive walls are a lot more common than offensive ones, but yeah, that's going to give him a bit more safety. He'll see any raid coming in through that side, and this side here
And
doesn't
also,
need to worry
apparently,
about
it
as
will
much.
deny him some resources as those villagers are going to have some idle time here walking up to that wall.
To have a fight.
Oh, we do have a fight. And, the Soar's kind of getting stuck on the infantry there, not able to do too much. And just keeping them back for the moment, just trying to use the strength of his range units there. This is actually looking pretty good for Russia, I think. The Sepoy are not going to do super well against these Boyard Strelets.
Yeah, it's looking like Russia's composition is just sort of like better equipped to deal with Sawar's
Yeah, but
Sepoy.
that being said, though, now that the Soar have joined the fight, there's not much that the Russian army can really do without some Cossacks there to support them. And it looks like that army is going to get cleaned up. Some more reinforcing musketeers coming in as well, and some walls going up around the villagers for absolutely no reason.
Well, I did ask for wall tricks.
You did ask for aggressive walls, and this is a pretty aggressive wall.
That's how aggressive walls work. Yeah, but it looks like India has cleaned up the fight here. And I don't think the villager difference is going to make or break this one for Russia. I think, like, this seems quite difficult now, and there's very little food on the map. Having said that, though, look at this. 2 mills already up for Russia.
Oh my god, these walls.
This is... I really
oh my
like...
god, 2 blockhouses being dropped out. Oh my god, this is so weird.
He kind of...
But a gate being made here, so that the Sepoy are on their way to that location to clean up all these villagers.
To execute all the vills. This makes sense to drop down the blockhouses. He has to garrison
Yeah,
the
I mean, he has to, right? But he doesn't really have any units to, like, protect those. I guess those vills can just garrison up in the blockhouse while, those strelets that are walking over maybe siege the wall. But I think this is probably over now for Russia. He doesn't have any resources to gather in this location.
Maybe you build
now that the walls have sort of trapped the villagers there.
You build a dock and train a fishing boat and ferry them across in the fishing boat.
Actually, probably would have been a better idea than making the blockhouses, maybe. I don't know, it would have taken a long time, but maybe yeah, it could have worked. Could have worked.
Yeah, that's kind of stupid. But that's really dirty. Like, GiBthedurrty being very dirty. That's so dirty! Oh my goodness! He's like trapped them all with walls. I love it.
And the vills gonna be forced to run towards the army that's trying to create an escape route for them.
Yeah, it's so deliciously filthy. I'm a bit turned on right now. That's.
Well, he's going to get most of them out, it looks like, unless these ones get spotted. But that was a lot of resources lost, having to invest in those blockhouses, not being able to gather any resources with those villagers, and like that. So India's got to be feeling really, really comfortable now.
Yeah, but he seems to have... Say, Russia just has an absolute ton of gold, and his macro is set up quite nicely with the 2 mills over here.
Yeah, I mean, actually, now that you mention it, it actually doesn't look that bad for him, somehow.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's like,
actually,
what's going on?
India's kind of the one that's out of hunts. He's got all these villagers on the right side here, but all of his hunts are way over here.
At least he does have hunt, though.
It's true, he does have hunt if he can get villagers there.
Yeah.
But he's only got 6 vills on food at the moment, so... If Russia can hold here, which he can... Apparently I have no idea what I'm talking about in this game, because everything I say is instantly wrong.
Is it... Well, it just seems like... You were talking about that explosive, snowbally composition if you can win the fight. But ultimately, I just feel like that was half the advantage of India. It's just that you can make those techie units, and not doing that. And Russia's been able to keep up. Russia seems absolutely fine, and now Russia's here executing villages.
Yeah, and he's not able to train any Soar, which is kind of what you need to go along with these Sepoy to make these Sepoy work. And I think, like, once these Soar go down, like, these Sepoy can't really do anything against Strelet Musket, right? And he's got 10 Soars in queue now, but I don't think that's enough. Like at this point in the game,
Food silos.
you just need to transition into Gurkhas and Zambraks where you can get more value out of your units.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying as well. But food silos, what's wrong with eco theory? Like, okay. I guess that 5% is it 20% food gathering? No, it's 15.
It's 15%. So I mean, his mills will be slightly better, and he does have a lot of bills on mills, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, it's really sad for him that he didn't realize that there's a hunt right there.
Ah, that's
he never scouted.
That's kind of awkward. Yeah, that's hidden in the black. That is really awkward. Oh dear.
Yeah, well, but once again, India managing to sort of clean up the Russian army, but he doesn't have enough units to break the blockhouses again. And
no.
like, he's still committed to this sort of Soar Sepoy composition, and you can see like just the Soars just go down really fast, and the Sepoy afterwards don't have anything to do. Like, imagine if it was Gurkha Zambraks and he was just abusing the range and kiting forever. Like, he could be killing like 5 muskets for the cost of literally no units.
Leave Control Shift F on. Yeah, that's awkward. And now GiBthedurrty switching over to rice paddies, his first one going down now. So Russia's already survived that switch. He's got, I think, 3 mills in total. There's 2 here. There's a third one in his base. So now it's about to get very, very dicey for GiBthedurrty here in the color green. I think he's going to have a hard time reinforcing whilst constructing rice paddies.
Yeah, definitely. And
I think Russia might have just...
like a... Yeah, he did. And okay. I had no idea what I was talking about this game, but Sepoy Soar is not a good composition against Russia.
Yes.
Well done to Pérez.
Why I don't like the Indian meta at the moment. Feels like everyone just makes Sepoys and never makes anything else and doesn't realize that it's not always good. And that's my stance on India, and I won't say any more, as I've basically complained about it this entire game anyway.
Alright, let's see if we can set this game up before we leave. There's 4 minutes of delay, so...
But, yeah, anyway, Pérez starting 2-0 in the series, which I think is pretty unexpected.
Yeah, well done to him. All resources gathered very even, and villager count here. You can see India is just ahead, and then Russia, they slowly creep up, and they beat you. Although there was a big raid sort of in the mid-game there. So that's probably how India got ahead. And then you can see where they're... Do you think they're still
Players
here?
might have actually left. Well, I left the game now. Let's just do it via Discord.
Okay.
No.
Oh, I just left too. Shit. Shit.
It's okay. We have Discord.
Oh, that's true.
Well, Kamchatka is the next one. I have to pick, I guess. Wait a second.
Yeah, take your time to think about it.
I'm going to log off ESO for the time being. Actually, I don't know if that actually helps.
Holy shit, this game, I was so nervous. I fucked it up a lot of times, like, getting so bad fights.
Go Gurkha Zambrak.
Yeah, Gurkha much better.
Anyway.
They tank too much.
Yeah, I think we should have stayed in the game, because that way the spammer dude doesn't realize that the game's over.
I think a little bit. Kamchatka. Let's see the tips. I don't know. I'm gonna go for China. Okay, I go China.
Okay.
China look.
By the way, you're on stream, but I guess you don't mind. I hope. China. Okay. And Gib. Are you here? Oh yeah, I see.
I'll go port.
Okay.
Port against. Okay.
Let me know when you've hosted.
Okay, I log in. Nice.
I love how your picture is a goat and your voice has this very like rusky feel to it, Gib. Almost like a goat.
Oh fuck, the dicks.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I like it either way.
Oh, the fucking dicks. Wait a moment. Okay, that's fine.
Cool.
All right. Well, while you guys get that sorted, we'll jump in.
He has a great voice. Actually, both of them do.
Indeed. But, oh, this is not the right map. Check. Both players checking their decks here. Get started in a moment. Hopefully we have the time.
Yeah, I kind of don't think.
But, Port is kind of an interesting counterpick to China, because I feel like it's not actually a good matchup for Port, in my opinion. Just because, well, China kind of struggles against aggression a little bit. Okay, maybe he didn't actually want to play that. He thought it was Florida, so. All right, here we go. So actually going to be Japan versus China.
I don't know. I'm clenching my buttocks until we actually start.
I think we're in.
You
I think we're good.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to perhaps our third and final game in this best of 5 series. Pérez doing very well, perhaps much better than people thought. I think Gib was the favorite here. Gib being, of course, Thunderstorm, and Pérez being Yiskri. Yes, that's right. We'll start with him. Here he is in the top of the map in the color red, playing as China. He won the previous game and has elected to play as China. Let's keep an eye on those monks and, of course, the disciple as well and see where they go, because there is the option of the goats in the center, as always, but indeed a trading post, which we may see him go for, or perhaps he'll delay the trading post and go to the middle. We've been seeing people build their trading posts in the middle after contesting the goat spawns, which I kind of like. And we'll see where they go. Yeah, looks like he's going to go straight to the middle there. And I thought for a moment scout with his goat as well, but it has kind of stopped. But green, here he is. GiBthedurrty needs to pick up a point here, otherwise he's going out 3-0. This is match point, and both monks going to head straight towards the middle there to contest the goats, and he's going to make it first. China has stopped, and I think green should get there first for the first pickup there. But Red, what did he say in the chat? No, that's Green saying something in the chat. I thought Red just said something, and then my interpretation of that was that he was like, oh, bugger, I need to go back and build a trading post. But instead, he's taken the most awkward route around these lakes, these little strips of river, and is not going to get any of the goats. He's sort of not really achieved anything with that scouting pattern. Although, having said that, he has got...
I think he's decided he wants to go back and build a trading post. But he did manage to steal one of the goats with the disciple, and Japan's sort of halting to pick up his food treasure, so he might actually be able to pick up the second pair of goats as well. So at the end of the day, it's not going to be too bad for him, despite the awkwardness there.
Yeah, this has gone just fine. I think that's fine.
Although, not going to actually spot the goats. But in any case, let's talk a little bit about the matchup, I guess. As you said, Gib needs to pick up a win here, and this is sort of his staple civilization. He plays on his main account, at least in rated games. He's played nothing except Japan, so this is certainly a civilization he's very comfortable with. Whereas for Pérez, I'm not certain how comfortable he is with China, because I just don't know much about him as a player. But I like the matchup as China, so even if he's not super comfortable with it, he does. I think, at least in my opinion, he has an advantage in that regard. But gotta remember that Gib being comfortable with Japan might be enough to compensate. Gonna stumble across the 90 wood as it's being taken.
Oh, pardon me. Yeah, there's a 90 wood treasure. Contention. Oh my goodness. Let's get... What is he... Oh, there's a monk standing underneath the treasure, right?
There is, and I'm pretty sure that Japan got that. Yeah, there we go. So
I couldn't even see
90 wood going to go over Japan, which will help him out quite a bit in getting an extra shrine with that heavenly kami shipment that just arrived. And he has also started with a Portuguese consulate as well, so fully set up to go for that sort of boomy playstyle.
Is now going to age up to Shogu Shrine, and yes, boomy playstyle as you're mentioning, stacking all of these things. Northern refugees now coming in for China, and that is what we're seeing.
Yep, and Japan has a lot of time to sort of boom here. He's aging up super early, so he can start his boom a little bit early as well. China has to age quite a bit later, so it's going to be a long time before he's up to colonial to really contest anything that Japan tries to do here. And this actually, aging up this early actually opens up the door to maybe some early timings or something from Japan as well in colonial. I don't know if he'll take advantage of that, but it's certainly an option. I think Gib in general, though, prefers to be a little bit greedier with his Japan play, so I don't really expect that from him.
Yeah, you as a player are just much more willing to make those sort of early timings that you're mentioning than I think you're quite fond of them. Or you're I don't know how to say it.
I do them, but I feel like in tournaments I don't do them as often sometimes. Just because I feel like I don't know, if it doesn't feel like it fits. It feels like I always get the matchups where it doesn't really fit, like, for me to do something like that, but it's definitely something that I do sometimes, I guess.
And also, like, on standard maps, sometimes, like, you're just playing as, I don't know, France or something like that on a non-TP map, and you're just like, well, let's do something early. The situation's similar to that, maybe, just the need for it arises more often. But let's talk about this wall. He's definitely going for the greedier playstyle. He's going to boom up behind the wall, and Kamchatka, a fine map to do this on. Clearly was thinking about the maps. He thought it was Florida and didn't initially take Japan. So I think these the natural barriers of Kamchatka are what's influencing here. Going to go with a full shell, just going to completely finish that wall. Although the monk, by the looks of it, is either now trapped or can walk over the trading post site.
I should be able to escape if he wants to, or else just maybe try and deny this wall a little bit, but no, he's going to walk out of there. And basically what this will do is sort of remove the need for a military building for a while, just in case China does do something in colonial. And Japan doesn't really want to scout China, they just want to kind of be building shrines. So this sort of also removes the need to scout super early, and so he can continue just shrining up, and if China does something colonial, he'll already be prepared for it. And if not, then big deal, he's still booming. So, seems like an okay decision. And yeah, it looks like on the other side of the map, it looks like Pérez is actually going to be going for a FF. Potentially even an FI. No, definitely not an FI, actually, looking at his deck. Does not seem like the greatest fast industrial deck, although he does still have options in industrial for later on. But, yeah, 700 gold. I was going to say coin, and then I was going to say gold, and it came out...
It's going.
Not
right.
the way I wanted it to.
700 going. There it is.
Yeah, there we go. So, we'll be aging up to Fortress relatively soon. Gib, on the other hand, just happily putting down even more shrines as he's up to 150 shrine population, or will be 150 in just a moment here.
Poof.
And let's see. And I think he's got another 4 villager shipment on the way. And he's got a stable up, actually. I didn't even notice that. Interesting. He's got Naginata in queue.
Such is the... Yes, he does.
Yeah, so that's
Monk fight.
going to be there before Japan hits Fortress. Maybe he can delay that a little bit. Maybe force a little bit of idle time and stuff like that.
Yeah, 4 Naganatas coming out. And he's left a nice gap in the wall for them to exit the base from. And looks like, yes, they will go straight towards the opponent's base there. I wonder if they'll hunt down the monk. How do you feel about doing that kind of thing? Or do you think it's just better to be in the China base, denying their age?
Killing the monk is always good against China, I think, if you can do it. Not having that monk, always, it just feels so bad. So yeah, he is going to hunt that down. Which might actually give him the opportunity at least to age up a little bit more safely. And got his 700 wood on the floor now, so we can add in a little bit of infrastructure, consulate and a barracks, and maybe some more villages, give some more safety to those villagers. But the Nagi are going to get in, for some idle time at the very least, see what's going on, do some scouting, etc.
Yeah, kind of force the villagers into the TC there, but looks like China's basically aged, so by attacking that monk, he got himself 90 XP and denied the monk, but and he's going to pick up a villager kill, which is really nice, but all this time, that tower, looks like the porcelain tower, has had all 8 villagers, or considerable number of them, on it, so it's not going to be stopping China's age up in any kind of meaningful way, and now is going to be sort of forced away by the 3 Quang Pike and Chokanu that you get from the Summer Palace. They're on the other side of the town center, so he's going to come back in and perhaps maybe even get another villager kill if he's really lucky here. I think, yeah, it does pick that up. So actually, China...
Could maybe even get a 3rd.
Oh, wow. That's really, really, really good. And he built just the 4 Nagis as kind of like, not an afterthought, but I feel like a lot of people might skip the Nagi just, you know, for a couple of extra shrines or something with all of these heavenly kamis and whatever's going on. But that's worked out really great. Those 4 cav have been really, really effective. He killed the monk and got 3 villager kills, and they're still all of them alive.
Yeah, they've definitely done a good job. They're also... One other thing they could do, although it's not relevant because we've taken a look at Pérez's deck, but maybe Gib hasn't, is they've also sort of maybe forced a little bit of a reaction out of China. They're not going to be shipping like 1,000 gold and trying to like age up to industrial right away. Instead, he's going to ship intervention. Doesn't actually have the console up and the ally there to get units out right away, but he will in a moment.
I love how the fast industrial has become like almost the meta with China. It's just like, it's so deliciously late. I like that word.
Those Nagi, they can't get to the Ville.
It's stuck in between. Yeah.
But
Redcoats are now here, and they're gonna put an end to this nonsense. Go back to whence you came, Naginata. No more raiding for you. But they've had a good run. I think they should be pleased with that. And they're not done. Look at this. They're coming around the side. Can they pick up another Ville? Look at that one gathering the treasure.
I think they can potentially. They're just buying a lot of time here.
He found him. He found the villager. Unbelievable.
Yeah, another Ville going down. So that's going to be a total of 4 villagers killed for those Nagi.
Okay, their reign of terror has come to an end, Mitoe. The disciplined Meteor Hammer will sort them out, and that lone man will get away. We'll call him Jonathan. We'll check back in on Jonathan later on. But the rest of the China army now pushing forward, lots of pikes here and those Minutemen. Do the sentries have good siege? They have 1 extra siege compared to a normal one. I kind of expect them to have some since they're like a pikeman, but either way, these units going to start sieging down the shrines here and just making sort of a start on these buildings whilst he's waiting for his unit shipments and batches to come through. Looks like, though, Japan has now got Basterios out and Yumi as well. Is going to be able to defend this shrine now the Basterios have arrived. But there's Meteor Hammer nearby. God, they've got so much range. I feel
Overstepped just a little bit.
But he's okay.
But he's going up to industrial.
Hot
and
damn.
He shipped 1,000 wood and is putting down a second town center.
This is what Hazard did in the other day.
This is what Hazard did the other day.
Didn't work out very well. Well,
yeah, although I also had Stagecoach and didn't lose 4 villagers, so this push here, I don't know if he hasn't identified that he's aging either, probably. So I don't know if he'll be able to break through this wall in time to really do meaningful damage. And I don't think he doesn't even have like really good market upgrades behind this, so this is just looking really good for Japan overall, I think.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Gib needs. GiBthedurrty in green, just to remind everyone. He's currently not got any points, so this could be his first victory, and it's looking very, very solid. That gate buying him a lot of time here, and he's going to make it up to industrial in plenty of time, adding in an extra piece of wall, a couple of wall segments just to buy the ranged cavalry.
But he's trapped. He's
time.
trapped his daimyo and his Ashigaru. And
pull!
It's dead. It's dead. He trapped it. He built a wall right in front of it. It was like, I'm sorry, sir, but you're dead.
They didn't like that, leader.
No.
That's kind of awkward.
Yeah, that feels really bad. That's a lot of extra damage lost on these units. And getting in disciplined Ashi now, at least. He's got 14 Ashigaru on the way as his shipment here. 2 batches of Minutemen he can call to defend this, and with the walls, I think he's going to be totally fine despite losing that daimyo.
God, China Cav is so good. They don't even have to be next to units to fight. They just sort of stand there and start...
They're quite good. But I don't think it's going to be enough with the 14 Ashi popping out, even though the Ashi are just kind of doing ring around the cherry orchard instead of actually fighting.
That sounds like a song. That's my favorite song, Mitoe. Can you sing it again? It's called Running Around the Cherry Orchard.
Yeah, ring around the I don't know, whatever. Screw
round,
it.
around.
Anyway, going to be rebuilding that wall now that he's forced the China army back. The Ville's going to go down, but it is going to partially build the wall at least to create a little bit more of a choke point. And overall, I think this is just looking really good for Japan with the 4 Flaming Arrow shipment coming next.
Yeah.
In just a moment here.
Did lose the daimyo, but ultimately, being in the industrial age, you have these really, really solid shipments, right? And as you just mentioned, flaming arrows, they have arrived, and getting a couple of volleys on those light infantry, this is going to be absolutely brilliant now for him. He can push out, he's stabilized, and it's just going to be very difficult for China to deal with. He's sort of used up his window. He came in just as he was sort of aging up and tried to do as much damage as he could. Did kill the daimyo, which is good. But now Japan in a sort of solid spot. And also Japan ahead, economically speaking, as well. He's going to pick up those Changdao sieging the shrines. And this could be an engagement here. Where are the Flaming Arrows aren't nearby, but I don't think Cav can challenge these disciplined Ashis. And now he's got the 600 wood needed for the upgrade as well. So very soon we're going to see honoured Ashigaru Musketeers. And that is going to be the nail in the coffin for China.
Could be, although he does have Repelling Volley in now, which will make these skirmishers quite a bit more effective against Ashigaru, even honored Ashigaru. But the big issue for China is going to be these Flaming Arrows, I think. There's another 14 Ashi shipment coming just to protect them, but he doesn't really have an answer to this at the moment. It doesn't have hand mortars in his deck or anything like that that can really try to contest them. He just has sort of the meteor hammers that can try to take those out, but his military mass is just too small to really do anything about this.
Let's check in on Jonathan. He's turned into a goat.
I don't know what happened to that Nagi.
I totally forgot about him. And someone in the chat asking why it's called Jonathan, if he's a Japanese chap.
It's not a very Japanese name, no.
No, it's not. It's not. I should have thought about that. I don't know any Japanese names.
Well,
I don't watch enough anime.
He's dead now. We'll name him Hikaru after the the chess grandmaster,
All right then.
because even though Hikaru is mostly more American than Japanese, probably. Anyway, not the point.
Honored
the point is Japan's pushing in
Ashigaru.
here.
Yeah, with those super powerful. He's got 4 flaming arrows, which is going to deter the Arquebusier. Yeah, that's a volley. And it's a shame he can't just ship 4 more of them to the daimyo. That villager goes down. And yeah, China, what are you going to do? That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and at this point, I think it's just a matter of time with the flaming arrows coming in. You're going to get another volley off in those infantry, and now going to start sieging away at these buildings.
And not just their attack goes up, but also their siege. So look at that, 13-1 siege, 39 ranged attack, and a flintlock coming in as well from the Golden Pavilion, question mark?
Yeah, that's from the Golden Pavilion. Even a monastery actually going down for Japan, so not entirely sure what the deal is with that, as I guess he's just not really wanting to send cherry orchards, maybe, and so he's just going to start trading mercenaries. He's got Mamelukes and Stratiates.
Oh, Mamelukes! That's perfect. Like, who cares about... If that's the case, then yeah, salt the cherry orchards. That's a fine... That's completely fine.
Yeah, well, it looks like the Chinese cavalry trying to get in here and clean up some of these flaming arrows, but there's not enough meteor hammers in there, and yeah, that's going to be GG.
Oh, and he didn't hold on long enough. I was really hoping to see Mamelukes.
Good old Mameluke Ashigaru composition. Sounds pretty good.
That sounds filthy, doesn't it? Sounds filthy.
Anyway, though, Gib picks up his first win, so
Yeah. Score is
he's
now
back on the board.
2-1. I guess we go to Discord.
Guess so.
I think they're still in the call.
No, they aren't. Alright, so the next map is going to be Deccan. And Gib, having won the previous game, does have to pick first here. And no more Japan for him, but he could play India again, which is a solid pick on Deccan. Are you still alive? Interjection?
Yeah, I just feel very tense between games.
Well, don't.
It's always concerning. I kind of feel like a 10-minute delay would be better.
No, we're okay. We're fine, don't worry. So Gib picks Brit on Deccan, which is also pretty solid. Pérez still thinking about his choice.
Shaping up to be a good series. Did you mention...
Yeah, I think... Go on.
GIB is only like he only plays Japan on ladder or something.
Yeah, in rated games, at least on his main account, he only plays Japan. But yeah, I think the series is actually a lot closer than I was expecting, at least. Pérez has been performing pretty well overall.
Yeah, he's doing all right. I'm pleased.
I thought that it would probably be a relatively easy win for Gib, to be honest, but I've been proved wrong. And yeah, I mean, it's not over yet, but he's got a really good chance to take the series. And I think if he takes the series, is this his second upset? Because I think most people were expecting Keister to win against him in his previous series as well.
Yeah, he's doing really well. Can you imagine if he made it to the LAN? That'd be brilliant. Although I think he'd have a hard time against, like, say, Wicked Cossack or yourself if you went down to the lower bracket. I don't know if he's in your group, but it just seems like he's definitely having a good run. I think people should keep an eye on him for future tournaments. Can you talk me through your veto on New England every time? You don't seem to like
no one will play New England with me. That's the reasoning behind it. And because no one will play New England with me, I don't know what to really play there. Like, most of the civs that I feel like are good on New England are civs I don't really play, like Spain and Ottomans and Portugal and stuff like that. And a lot of the civs I play are pretty like high gold civs, so
you just don't like New England in general. That
I like New England. It just doesn't feel like a map I can play safely.
We need to join now.
But I want to be able to play it because I feel like I would do really well on it if I had a plan. I just don't have one yet.
Well, in theory, you don't
the
ever
LAN
have...
I will have one.
You can just veto it forever. Like, you don't actually, in theory, ever have to play it until the grand finals of the LAN, where it's a best of 9 and no vetoes.
It's true.
Which is kind of like by design, because we made a fairly controversial map pool, I think, and there's at least one map in the map pool that everyone just doesn't like, which is fair enough, and that's kind of why you've got a veto. Like, for a lot of people, that might be Tar Desert. For others, it'll be New England. Diroga, for example, really doesn't like Deccan. Or Tar Desert.
Diroga doesn't like any map that isn't, that isn't like Hudson Bay or Arkansas or Adirondacks.
Yeah, well, like, Arkansas is just the most vanilla, fucking boring-ass map in the... I mean, it's a great map. It's a great map to play. Like, as a player, I'm all for a game on... Okay, we can join now. But it's just, like, what I call these open arena, like bland-ass map, where there's, like... By open arena, I just mean it's just this sort of battlefield in the middle where there's no natural barriers or anything interesting at all going on. And then there's just, like, this completely standard trade route that just goes down the side of the map. And then the hunts and
resources in your base until 12 minutes and everything. And I don't like Arkansas.
Yeah.
I feel like games on Arkansas are always very boring. But anyway, looks like we're going to be getting into the next game on Deccan here. It's going to be Gib as the British with Pérez as Aztec.
I would find it hilarious if somehow the invite spammer manages to hack into the LAN. I don't think he'd risk his life, because I have, like, I won't say any names, but I've seen, like, at least 4 people saying they would kill him if he did anything to upset the LAN. And there'd be a lot of us and only one of him, so I don't think he'll be risking it, to be honest. But
pretty sure it's not possible anyway.
Yeah, no, it's not possible to. Well, I suppose he could DDoS us, but even then, we don't actually need an internet connection to play the games. We could just use the LAN local area network, although we wouldn't be able to broadcast them then, I suppose. But actually, we have a backup connection anyway. We have a redundancy anyway, so we would be fine. Mind you, that's Yeah, that's the case. So no worries there. But yeah, spawning on the right-hand side of the map in the color green, we do have Thunderstorm. Here he is, aka Pérez. No, GiBthedurrty. Yes, I don't want to confuse people. Let's say it again. Green is GiBthedurrty, and he just won the previous game as Japan. So had to pick first. Elected to go with the British here. And he's going to pick up 50 wood in base, has plenty of crates in base, and we'll see where that explorer elects to go. I actually really like his map here. This is an incredibly closed off pass. That's absolutely wonderful for him. Look at that. He could easily block that up with like 2 manas. It seems like it's spawned in a really awkward way. I'm wondering if we should ask for... Is that too unfair for Pérez? He's clearly smaller than usual.
Sorry, I wasn't looking.
This passage here, it's like wonderful.
No, I think it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we only offer.
I don't think that's a big deal.
Yeah. Okay.
It would be. I mean, yes, it's easy for him to wall off, but I don't think it really matters, to be honest. Like, if that wall or if that pass was as large as this one, like, it's still really easy to wall off very cheaply. So I don't think it's a big deal. But anyway, to be a trading post for Aztec.
Yeah, and no one's gone to the middle yet. Although Red has found 4 cows, so that's pretty good. But the British not going to be building a trading post. I often see people do quite like to build trading posts as really any civ on this map. But here not going to do that. Going to play the traditional... I guess it's just because you age up so much quicker and the
exactly, yeah.
XP curve is just a bit whack.
And yeah, and I mean, as some other civs, you don't really have much of a way to invest that wood into anything super early on, and you don't really want to just leave the wood sitting there. Like as France or Germany, for example, you kind of... Well, you want a trading post anyway, but even if you didn't want a trading post, there's not much else for you to really invest into. So you're kind of forced to in that regard. The yaks! Not paying attention. Both... Okay, only one gonna go over to Aztec there.
Rip. He's gonna kill that lion off, so we'll be fine.
Yep. Taking a lot of damage, though. And, he is now aging, at least. He's aging with the governor, so that'll give him the tower to help him defend against any early aggression. Aztec gonna take a little bit longer to, age up here. But I imagine he will age up shortly himself, eating a yak as well to make sure he can get that in. And I imagine he will be going up with the messenger most likely. Yeah, there it is. So that's pretty standard stuff for both players so far.
And 3 forward villages now coming forward.
Yeah, and it looks like they're not going to be going through the middle of the map. They might be going to build one up here or something, which is something we've been seeing more when people want to play aggressively on this map, just to avoid getting walled off on that like really small choke point that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And it's also a little bit less likely to be scouted, although there is a villa up there that's going to be constructing a manor for line of sight up there.
I often see this in team games. You get people like, in like the PR25 team games, they all flare the side and go, side rush. It's called a side rush, right? Like, Ethan has terminology. I bet you didn't know that.
Makes sense, makes sense. Also, this, we're sharing resources at 3 minutes into the game. Okay, no, the Bill doesn't want to do that. What are they doing? They're just going to kill the elephants, I guess?
Ah! You don't see much of that. Like, the other day I was playing on Painted Desert, just because RE patch, and that map's so small that I thought it was worthwhile to just, like, use my forward vil to, like, just... Well, it wasn't even a forward vil, I just sent it over and started, like, anti-herding the guy.
Yeah, it can be good sometimes. And here, definitely, like, those vils are not going to be able to gather from those elephants, and they're just going to slowly decay over time now, and there's just going to be no way that he gets to use those later on, even if he does manage to kill the war hut or something.
God, look at that. Killing them right under the war hut. That's really, really, really nice for him. But he's identified... Well, he clearly saw the villagers and has decided to build in this wall. And we saw this style worked out quite well for him with Japan, so maybe he can pull that off again, except this time he's up against someone being quite aggressive, whereas before it wasn't super fast-paced in the early. But this is still Deccan. He's got sort of lost 2 elephants there, but there's still sort of plenty of food on this map. He's got 2 elephants, lots of hunt here, and a berries as well. So hopefully should be fine for some time. But worth pointing out that there are... Oh dear, that's no good. Did they miss the...
Yeah, he didn't change the shipment point.
Well, that's ideal for British.
Yep. Buy him a lot of extra time, and he's got longbows in queue as well, which are really, really nice behind walls like this, and especially against Aztec, who don't really have a super high-range unit. And even coyote runners have pretty low range resistance compared to similar light cavalry units, so longbows will do pretty effectively here against Aztec and any pressure he tries to put on.
Pumas do
but
pop out.
He's not being super all in though. He's grabbing 2 trading posts, likely going to be researching Stagecoach. So he's not pendant on making this push work.
He's looking for an opening, but the longbow's probably going to deter those Puma. They're not going to want to stand there, but are able to use the Mace Halton to get a little bit of damage on the longbow. Certainly that Explorer, and they do have a bit of siege range, so have done some damage here, but the longbow is ultimately, as you said, very strong behind walls, and not making this too easy for Aztec to push in there. So it absolutely seems to be the right decision to build this trading post behind it, and he's probably got quite a nice late game timing. He's got 6 llamas. Wow, I was calling the yaks llamas earlier, and now the yaks, I've got them totally backwards. He's got six of those in his base, and that's going to give him a nice food boost later on. So I wonder... and look at this down here.
Cheeky,
aggressive walls. I did ask for aggressive walls. And now...
Yep, and makes a lot of sense in this matchup, I guess. Going to deny him at least 1 hunt, and potentially more, as well as maybe a gold mine and stuff like that later on. Not going to be relevant for a long time, though. But not super expensive to invest into, although he did spend a lot of time walking that villager down there and then building the wall, so...
Yeah, that's the one trouble with that wall, I guess. But British fine at the moment. He's still got lots of hunt. It is Deccan. Mind you, it is running out. He's only got those elephants left now. And soon he'll have to push out to get more hunt. But he's got considerably more villagers than his opponent. And British probably fine, at least right now. This is sort of very much a contain from Aztec. And it's got some eco behind it with the Stagecoach, so I guess he's not actually as far behind as I thought.
What is this Vil trying to do?
Maybe it's there to build more walls. I think it was trying to go across the plateau.
He might have been wanting to like maybe herd even more hunts away or something. I don't know. But one thing that this wall does do as well as denying resources, I mean, is it maybe secures these trading posts for later on if he wants to build them himself. It'll be hard, or themselves. If he wants to build it himself, it'll be harder for some units to come down there and siege that. With his military being stuck on the other side defending the war hut and the northern trading posts. But looks like more walls going to go down and also going to herd this hunt away, maybe? Yeah, not paying enough attention at the moment.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
looks
a
like
lot of walls going down, actually.
British now pushing out, and that looks like quite a scary army there.
Yeah, there's not a
three
whole
different
lot of
types
units
of
for Aztec here, but I think he has enough that British isn't going to be super comfortable pushing out just yet. And if these walls do go up, then that's going to be a little bit harder for him to push out. Although longbows still do really well, even
this is absolutely
while sieging walls.
This is absolutely beautiful from Pérez here. I'm really, really enjoying this sort of style. Like, he's literally just... Well, he's killed the hunts, and he's starting to wall his opponent in, and when his opponent tries to push out for more resources, he's going to be met by these walls, and sieging them down at the same time as fighting is just so hard to do. And this is really interesting, and I'm really hoping it sort of pays off for him. I'm just so refreshed, almost.
Yeah, and you can see already there's not a lot of food left for him. He's got a pair of elephants down at the bottom and 1 elephant left in his base, but it's quickly evaporating. But he is now onto the wall game, is going to pick up a village. He goes to try to wall off the bottom side there, and this raid will force at least a few coyotes maybe to go back to defend that. That is more than a few coyotes that's going back to defend that. And Also going to be picking up some vills here on the north side while he's distracted. Gets 2.
And
Gets
he's going to pick up a
fourth.
third
He's
in
going to get a
vills.
4th vill in total off of this gold mine. No, actually, it doesn't go down. Never mind.
But very close. He is quite far ahead in villagers at 50 vill marks at the 10-minute mark. Yumiu would be proud. He always used to say that, was it him? I don't know. Someone used to say you can get 50 vills by 10 minutes. Anyway,
Yeah.
he's definitely ahead in vills.
Yep, looks like he's going to be pushing the warhead as well. He's seen all the coyotes back at home, so he knows that there's significantly less units here, and that warhead doesn't look like it's going to be easy to defend, and I think it's just going to go down. And that potentially opens up some room to get some hunts on the northern side of the map here, force some of these villagers away that Aztec has, maybe clean up these trading posts. And to be honest, I don't think that there's much that Aztec can actually do about this.
But there are Puma here,
once
and
this
they
goes down.
almost got a great attack move onto those Hussar. Does lose his war hut, and looks like he
I
might
think-
lose his stagecoach TP as well.
I think suddenly this is not looking very good for Aztec at all, though. With that stagecoach about to go down, villagers gonna get spotted by the longbows, potentially hunted down by these Hussars. I mean, the units are coming back to sort of defend those, but 3 go down before any reaction. And I think, to be honest, these walls are actually costing him big time now, not having the units to defend those, to defend the war hut as a result of investing hundreds of villager seconds into building those walls. And now the Hussars just going to be snaring the army, moving forward. And Puma are going to react. And the Hussars maybe being a little bit overeager here, but at the end of the day, there's not a lot of Mace Halton here to really deal with the infantry once the cavalry are down.
Yeah. And you can just see British is tremendously ahead in score. Mace Halton's
Yep.
popping out. Up.
Adding in the trading post for himself as well behind this to sort of mitigate that advantage a little bit that Aztec once had. And this war hut, he might be able to defend this. This is a nice position with the trees here sort of blocking the Hussars from getting in there, but overall not looking great. Coyote actually being thrown into cover mode as well just to soak up a lot of damage here.
I
But
didn't realize they had a cover move.
they do. It's one of the unique things about Coyote runners. It's actually a little bit underrated, I feel like, but I don't know if in this situation it's going to be enough, especially with the reinforcing batches of Hussars coming in here, and I think Gib is going to pick up his 2nd win here.
Yeah. It looking pretty solid for him now. All the Mace Halton go die. And go down rather. Yeah, doesn't look like the walls paid off in the end. I really like the idea though, but it seems, very expensive, and British didn't really care. They just sort of sat in their base, and then when the food ran out, they just pushed out as usual, and business as usual, and functioned as usual, and had no issues here.
Yep, just boom until 10 minutes, make an army, force some units to go home with a 2 Hussar raid, and then right-click the war hut and win the game.
Yeah, that does seem to be the case. What do you think of the walls in general, though? Or is just Deccan too high of a resource map for this? I mean, it's certainly a closed-off enough map for this, but...
I think adding a few walls in like specific spots is kind of good, like tactically and stuff like that. But like trying to wall the entire map is just really expensive this early on in the game, and it also costs you a lot of like PM and stuff like that and all this stuff. And I don't think that it has a high chance of paying off when your opponent is going to get like maybe 5 to 10 extra units than you because you're investing so much into it, and then you can't defend the walls anyway. So I don't know. I like the walls on the bottom side. I think we're fine.
Yes.
But I think he just got a little bit trigger happy with them trying to wall up the whole middle part of the map and everything.
Yeah, I mean, killing the elephants was for sure good. But yeah, these ones in the middle look very expensive. But the ones on the chokes are probably fine.
It's just like, if you think about how much time he spent walking, like that one villager on the bottom side, and then like he sent another villager even up to build those walls, like it was basically like he just deleted like 1 or 2 vills for a long time, which is never great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the third and final game.
5th and final game.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. It'll be the third and final victory for one of these two players. The score is currently 2-2, and such is the way of things. The players have now got their decks set up, and after a few issues with not being too familiar with Game Ranger, we are now ready to resume the series. It will be on New England. And the matchup will be Portuguese versus Germany. And I really like New England. And I really think Portugal is a great civ on there. And I came to this conclusion when watching Kaiser play Ottoman that I'm kind of worried we'll just see a lot of Ottoman on New England. But that's not the case today. So we don't have to worry about that right now. But maybe it will become more prevalent. Who knows? But Ottoman certainly seem quite good. Abasgun's pretty good against ships. But yes, we are now into the lobby, and everything's looking good. The audio is audible, the visuals are visual, and the game has begun. So, spawning, put this up here, in the north of the map, in the colour green, we do indeed have the Portuguese player. Here he is, GiBthedurrty, and he has 1-2 wood and 1-2 food. This is an EP, so of course we start with 1 fewer crate, but that's fine, the villages are cheaper. And let's see what he does with that wood. Nearby, he has a villager treasure. And 50 coin and 40 XP as well. So, could consider hunting dogs with that coin treasure. Though I'm kind of wondering if he might go for a trading post. I don't know if that's something Portuguese usually do. But
it's definitely an option, but they don't have to do it.
There you
and
go.
Looks like he might not be doing that. Just judging on his villager distribution here, he's not put anything on wood.
No,
and yeah, he's going to be leaving that 1 wood crate on the ground.
Okay, so going to leave that for the time being, and instead search for the sheep. That seems sensible, right? If you don't have to go for a trading post, then why not use your explorer time for other things like collecting sheep and sort of looking for them, I suppose. But Germany, he will be going for a trading post, and we can already see the villagers have switched over to wood, and he's gotten the trading post down. Looks like Portugal is going to find that... The game is really loud for some reason. Let me turn that down. I think it might be because EP uses... Let's put that here. Yeah, I think the fan... Not the Game Ranger configuration has a different volume setting to the ordinary one or something like that. But trading post does go up, gets a little bit of free damage there, but ultimately not going to mount to too much. Neither player has found a sheep just yet, but I think Red is about to.
Yep. Going to be picking up the Cherokee Rifleman. I don't think Gib has spotted that, and that will give him quite a bit more control over these little skirmishes in the early game here. Potentially over the trading post line as well, if Gib does intend to ship something like Advanced Trading Post. He could potentially deny them for quite a while with that native. But on the flip side, Gib going to be picking up 60 food. Going to help him work towards that age up maybe a little bit sooner. Let's take a look at the deck. Okay, it's going to be a pretty water-heavy deck, actually, from Gib. He's got a shipment on the way. Could be probably either Advanced Trading Post or Schooners. He has both in deck.
That's a deck.
It is a deck.
That's a lot of deck right there. That's an interesting deck. That's like That's like he's copy and pasted it off the Kinesi forum somewhere.
It does look pretty similar, although he has a couple more unit shipments, I think. But looking at Germany's deck, his deck is a little bit unusual as well. It's got the warships in there. Not really a lot of unit shipments in the second age. He's got some more economic shipments, so in case the game goes a little bit longer, which is definitely possible against water.
Sustainable agriculture and rum distillery as well as eco theory. So definitely prepared for the long game.
Yep.
But now going up to the colonial age, at least GiBthedurrty is here as Portuguese going to be going up the Quartermaster for 400 wood, and is indeed switching villagers over to wood as well. So looking to do something quite wood heavy, and that would make sense. A villager going to be popping down a dock on the coast there, so we're going to see for sure something to do with the sea. Looks like Pérez now has just clicked up, and there's a bit of an explorer fight in the middle. That treasure has... I think someone was going for it. He's going to go for it there. It's just the one left, can grab that. And the Tomahawk going to be actually quite useful in this fight, I suppose. But GiB going to get back, doesn't want to have to deal with the Tomahawk there. But yes, dock now down, and no doubt some fishing boats in queue. But yes, the Pérez now switching over to wood as well. Probably for a market. Doesn't look like he... I think it's less likely he will be going for a dock or anything like that. First shipment.
It could go for a second trading post, though.
Which is what he's doing.
Yeah, there we go.
I like it.
And I guess he's probably spotted the deck at this point, so that's going to be his answer to sort of the water boom, is just to get the stagecoach going himself. But yeah, Gib going to be walling up while he gets his boom going. He's got a villager inside this fishing boat as well, moving over to the island to probably construct another dock over here somewhere. It continues moving at some point. But second town center going back, going down pretty defensively. Not going to be close enough to the pond though to really help control that at all. But will be in range of the other town center in case some units come in here, so we can sort of overlap the town center fire, which seems like maybe not the best thing when you're fully walled.
I feel like... How do you feel? Like maybe it should be closer to the pond?
I would like to see it closer to the pond, yeah.
Oh, that's not the case today.
In a sense, he's not totally fully walled yet, because Pérez at some point could just ship caravels here, right, and just ferry his army across.
Yeah, that's true.
But he might choose to wall that later.
Can you wall it in such a way that units can't... No, you can't. There's no way to stop the units from getting off the boat, right?
I'm pretty sure they'd show up on the other side of the wall. I'm not 100% certain, though. But he can still wall the coastline anyway.
Yeah. Looks like Germany will be dropping all 4 trading posts here and starting quite economically himself. He's gotten his market down, 2 settler wagons followed by 3 settler wagons, and just going to make the whole trade route. I think he's taken a look at Gib's deck there, and he's identified that this is definitely something very water-focused, in fact all in on the water even, and we will indeed see how that goes for him. But 700 wood, first shipment for Gib. And with it, lots of boats. In fact, a second dock on the island as well.
Yep, and stagecoach coming in as well for the German player here. And just waiting on that last trading post to get that constructed and have complete control here. Also gonna siege this a little bit, which is actually not a bad thing to do.
Yeah, it seems like a... Yeah, got 2 units that you got for free. That's actually become a really solid treasure, right? They've now translated themselves into quite a lot of damage on that dock, and it's going to help him take out that dock later on once his army starts coming out. But Pérez, look at this, following it up with two settler wagons as well. He's sort of keeping up with the Portuguese. They're very, very similar. In fact, I'd say Pérez even ahead in terms of economy, simply because he has the 4 trade routes.
You say that, but rendering plant coming in now.
Okay.
And might make things a little bit more difficult. Building an outpost actually on the water as well, just to try and make sure that he doesn't get caught off guard by any warships or anything like that.
You know, this is the first time I've seen an outpost go out on New England the whole tournament, which is surprising. Normally you see them... I've seen them on this island quite a lot, but not this tournament. Usually we're seeing them closer on the ponds. But yeah,
I feel like we haven't seen a lot of water on New England in general.
Yeah, that's true.
In this tournament. People prefer to play land, apparently. But in any case, these units are going to continue sieging the dock. They might force some kind of reaction eventually here. No warships in queue or anything like that. Looks like he's going to be sending 700 gold next. He could just let this dock go down, as he does have another one safely on the island. And investing a shipment to 2 caravels or training a caravel doesn't really feel worth it to defend that when you're almost full boomed on water anyway.
There's not a lot of units there sieging it, and you make a good point. Look at this. Finishing off the wall then is actually going to add... It's quite a funky wall there. I'm not sure where it's going, but it is going to stop most units, but it's still open. I suppose he intends to finish it, but this is very much a Kinesia wall. It's just sort of haphazard and going wherever it feels like. It's sort of it's clearly a double wall. That's what he's going for. He wants to reinforce it. And New England always is awkward to wall up because of the trees that spawn all the time. But that dock is going to go down. Rest in pieces, dock. Almost got a fishing boat as well with the siege. In fact, wow, did you see how far they threw those torches? That's quite impressive.
Some good arms on those Ulans there.
Like lobbing them.
But yeah, this second wall is going to add a little bit more safety to Gib as he goes up to the Fortress Age here. And just look at his look at his economy.
Look at that!
Oh wait, gets inside.
Oh, nice. I like it. I like it. Okay, well that's pretty good for him, I suppose. Well, with the Ulans, he's going to go down, but he's going to quickly find that that's completely walled off.
But he's got some DOPS coming in here. And Stable going up for Gib behind this. And 1,000 wood for Pérez as well, so he's been pretty greedy this game as well. There's a lot of stuff he could do with that wood. Looks like it's going to be another barracks and a stable going down. But those DOPS are going to force Gib maybe to make some units in Fortress. That's not a barracks, that's an artillery foundry.
I was going to wait for you to finish, and then I was going to point that out, yeah. It's a foundry. And this seems like...
if he finds find the town center, keep going.
In the back there. Well, he knows he's looking for it.
Click it.
The Ulans are looking for it. He knows he's just aged, but they don't have very good... Nah, he's not going to find it. But he is going to find a couple of villages. Does pick one up with the DOPS and a second one with the Ulans there. And looks like Gib going to add in... pardon me. I wonder what he makes at the artillery foundry.
Well, I guess it
could be either, I think, at this point. He has got a frigate in queue, so he's queued one at his dock here. So I imagine maybe it could be like a culverin just to like support the dock. But then
I feel like it's
Falconet
probably
is
it's a
do
Falconet.
that.
Okay.
Falconet can do the same thing, really, can't it? And it's more versatile. So, I wonder what you do with the Falc. Do you put it in your frigate and land it on this island and sort of contest that outpost? But
well, I think you just use the Falc to siege the main base here. Try to like apply as much pressure to this as possible while harassing the water.
Yeah, with your
trying
frigate.
to force a reaction out of Gib on the water.
Yeah. Oh, pardon me.
But I don't know about these DOPS though. It feels like he's making too many DOPS. The first 5 were good because they made it easy to get through the wall and everything, but at this point they don't really do anything to Dragoons. He's not paying super close attention to them either, and they're just going down. Ulan's also just sieging the market. Not a lot being accomplished here on the front here, although he has been killing fishing boats in the meantime, so...
Yeah. Yeah, he just sort of lost... Okay, we're going to take a quick pause.
Did he try to pause earlier? Is that why his units were kind of doing nothing?
That would make a lot of sense.
Oh, that's really, really unfortunate.
Yes.
Well, what do we do? That just seems like so... Like he's
I
completely...
don't know. I didn't see a pause or anything. You didn't see a pause either, right?
No, I didn't see a pause.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Well,
I don't think we can do anything about that then.
No, then it's... That's all. That's shit.
Yeah, that sucks.
Unless Gib wants to offer a rehost.
It doesn't look like it. We're just gonna be playing it out, looks like. That's unfortunate if it's true, but oh well. Don't get the frigate over there to garrison it. Oh well. And yeah, at this point, I don't know if there's much to be done about those Dragoons, although he does have another frigate coming out, and one frigate coming from Gib in response, but not going to be enough here. However, the Goons are going to be able to apply some pressure of their own on the other side, now getting onto the villagers. He's not paying attention to the water, doesn't realize there's another frigate there.
Yeah, those boats.
The outpost.
Mind you, his low HP boat is not being targeted, so this is...
Well, it is now, I think. No, it's not.
It took some... It's dead. From the outpost. This is not looking pretty. Outpost going down... No, it's a house. Do the boats heal when they're next to... in combat? They have to be still, right? Yeah, they're not healing.
Yeah, they have to be out of combat.
Well, shit.
Yeah, things are not looking good for Germany at this point. Score is still even. I mean, he's got 4 TPs in Stagecoach. He's got another Falcon out on the coast here. He's got a TC going up. He didn't really lose many villagers to those Dragoons. So it's not quite over yet, although I don't think he has enough to really deal with these Dragoons at the moment. And he doesn't have anywhere to protect that Falconet, no boats or anything to garrison in. Looks like it is going to go down. And at the moment, this is just looking like a rough situation for him, as the frigate will come in to deny the trading, or the town center, sorry.
Yeah, this just seems...
Caravels, though.
It just seems a bit pointless to continue after that catastrophic fuck-up earlier. Oh
Well, it's not over. It's not over just yet, but it's looking bad, yeah. But another frigate coming out.
TC
and
gets
the
denied.
dock is going to go down.
And the outpost is going to go down too.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
And he's got some skirms pushing the villagers on the front.
Yeah, and I mean these vills are also like on berries and stuff like that. The game's not over with the stagecoach and everything here. I mean he doesn't really have much of an answer to the mobility of these Dragoons, but aside from that, he's doing a decent job at everything. Gib keeping the frigate alive, nowhere to really heal it right now as that dock is going to go down. You can still send caravels himself. There's Culverin now as well to support the warships.
Scams have broken through. Do pick off a villager there. And,
yeah, I mean, all things considered, this isn't looking that bad for Germany.
Yeah, he's doing fine. Stagecoach behind this. Let's take a look at... although, I guess... Oh, yeah, nice. And he's cleaning up the water. So in no time, this economic unit population will look absolutely fine for him. There's no docks, there's no outposts. These fishing boats are going to get cleaned up.
Yeah, although Portuguese is aging up to the industrial age now. Germany looks like he might be saving for that as well.
And 2 shipments available for Portuguese when he hits up to the fortress age. Okay, both sets of Minutemen called, and 3 sets of Minutemen called, and the Dragoons there. Putting the Minutemen in melee mode, going to snare the skirmishers, and that'll be enough to stop them from escaping. And just going to kill them all up here. Make it harder for them to escape. Slowly walking away whilst they're taking shots there. Gonna get cleaned up. Those frigates...
Like the frigate on the water might go down, though.
Yeah, that's... Oh, the green frigate. He's gonna lose his caravel. Is he? Is he gonna lose the caravel? Yeah, surely. No! Caravel seems fine. He's not targeting it. Oh wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, a little bit distracted by what's going on land, and yeah, that gets cleaned up, and now he's got free reign over the water, at least for the moment. He's got another caravel down here, sort of controlling the whales and stuff like that.
That's a sad-looking caravel. It's a bit battered, that, isn't it? But yeah, he's still okay. And he scouted the TC. I wonder if the Vils can... Well, he hasn't scouted it yet. It's not been placed.
It hasn't been placed just yet, but the Dragoons have spotted the settler wagons, maybe. And actually now gold is starting to run out, which is going to be a problem for Germany. He's still got 2,000 gold left in this mine. He's still got Stagecoach, so it's going to be a little while yet, but starting to become a problem. Actually, just going to move up to this one. Might want to build a tower or something there. Losing a couple villagers on the river here.
Zach just came in my room and told me to
We've
turn off the overlay.
Had
Whoops.
the overlay on the entire time?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 4 minutes.
For 4 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So not the entire game.
No, not the entire game.
That's tragic, though.
That's pretty good, though. That is tragic. I suck. I should just, like, not stream. I should never stream. In fact, I should never use overlays. Thing is, though, when the game was paused, it's kind of like, you kind of have to.
Why?
In case they...
Oh, I guess I see what you mean, yeah.
Catches up or something. Just kill me
It's
now.
okay, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Game still continues, anyway.
It's a good game. We got to enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's all that matters, right? The two of us got to enjoy the game. Screw all of you viewers.
Someone throw a stone in his window. Alright, I'm just never going to stream again. Fuck you, Boneber. You can suck a dick.
Anyway, factory going up now for Gibbs, so not going to be sending... Oh, actually, he already sent the heavy cannons, sorry. And the settler wagons...
Ah!
I don't know exactly where they're going. Maybe trying to run towards the army, but getting hit by heavy cannons is not great. But he's going to get some counter damage in return on these villagers. He's cleaned up most of the fishing boats on the water. There comes the second factory. Where is that?
Gonna bash down the... What the... That settler wagon is... What are they... They are bashing. They should get out of there. Guess it's... Okay,
There's
here comes some war wagons.
some brave settler wagons.
And,
if he manages to clean up those heavy cannons with these, he's got a culverin too. Like,
yeah,
this
set
is
it up.
actually good for Germany if he kills. Oh, come on! Set up your cannons. Get the heavy cannon down. There you go.
Yes.
And this is actually looking not that bad for Germany. In terms of score, it's still relatively even. I mean, if you look at the economic population, it's pretty bad because he lost like 10 settler wagons. But he's in the base here. The villagers are all on wood. The only thing he has gathering resources for himself are really the factories, as the fishing boats are all dead. At least most of them. Gonna lose the artillery, which is gonna sort of alleviate the pressure on these factories. But for the most part, he's doing okay.
He just needs to stay on top of this fight, right? As long as his units can stay alive and Portugal can't quite keep up, then these villagers will be staying on wood the whole time, and it'll be so difficult for him to reproduce units. So
yeah, he sent Jaegers somewhere. Okay, here they are. Imagine if he'd sent those to the tower up here. That would have been huge. Could have been forcing these villagers away and stuff like that.
Hot damn.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a little bit of clock here on Germany for sure, with the number of villagers here and growing. But there's no answer to the skirmishers just yet for Gib. He's got organ guns now, but organ guns aren't really the best artillery unit in the game, although with the skirmishers all bunched up like this... Okay, not a great volley. It's just going to get focused down.
And there's too many
petards.
goons.
There's petards coming on the side here for the factories.
Oh, wow. You're so vigilant, Mitoe. I'm just exhausted and not noticing things. The
Don't worry
Jaegers...
about it. The organ guns are now down. There's Minutemen out.
Jaegers are arriving, but... Oh, God, imagine if they were at that tower, like you said. It would have been so much better, this position for him. These Dragoons would be toast with all those extra skirms.
Those petards, why'd they focus the town center? No, go for the factory! Okay, well, he's gonna go for the town center for some reason, but...
Maybe he doesn't think he can get there alive or something.
Maybe he didn't notice it. There's a heavy cannon out at the factory as well. Another heavy cannon at the other factory.
This means
So-
I have a feeling Portuguese is gonna stabilize.
Yeah, it seems like he's probably stabilized here with those,
And he's got a mill up.
petards not getting onto the... Imagine if those petards had gotten onto the factory, that would have been huge, but...
And imagine if the Jaegers had spawned in the tower, and imagine if he hadn't lost all his fucking Dops and Uhlans in the early game for, like... But there are some Uhlans on top of the heavy cannon.
Yeah, but the heavy cannon's quite tanky. It's got a lot of HP.
But
it's so close to going down.
down!
One of them goes down, but
Oh,
he's
but
got
there's
another one
one!
up here.
What?
And it's gonna get a shot off at these Jaegers.
Ah! Rip. Oh, no.
Yeah. What? There's an artillery foundry going down next to the factory.
That's classic.
I don't know if it will
We've
get
seen
spotted.
We've seen a couple of those now.
Yeah, this is the second time in this series, actually, that someone's tried to build an artillery foundry on top of their opponent's eco. Another settler wagon gonna go down. He's got another town center, though. Back at home, building a plantation. I mean, he's stuck in Fortress, which is the big problem here. Without gold to really age and stuff like that. He's already used his 1,000 gold shipment. But it's not looking... It's looking pretty good for Portugal now that he's stabilized, but it's not over yet.
It's... I was really rooting for Pérez after he lost his... it would have been like such a great comeback to witness.
Yeah, he's got petards in queue at this artillery foundry. If they finish, maybe he has a chance of getting the factory. The goons are sort of positioning themselves in a way to sort of block the pathing of any units that might pop out there, and it looks like it's probably going to go down before they pop out anyway.
Stop fight.
Another heavy cannon coming out the factories.
And with now that what are these veteran dragoons? Okay, so they're not like super upgraded, and they're not guard just yet, so it's still manageable. But heavy cannons and goons is a scary combo to deal with. Does have some petards though. If he can sneak those factories down and somehow neutralize the cannons, there won't be any more of them, and then maybe he'll be okay. But then again, opponent's
There's
20
no way
vills
that
up.
they get there, right? Not through this path.
No, they're gonna be seen for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that volley.
That was a volley.
Yeah, I think at this point it looks like Portugal is taking a commanding lead. There's a couple of culverins out now to maybe deal with those heavy cannons, but there's more heavy cannons on the way behind this. And Germany still struggling to get gold, especially now that the trading posts are going down. You know, if he'd started building fishing boats himself from this dock, would have been a good idea, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I kind of feel sad for Pérez.
Yeah, it was looking good for him for a while, and if he hadn't lost a bunch of units earlier on, could have been really, really good for him.
This was the reverse sweep. This is the first ever reverse sweep that I've casted. Mind you, it was only a best of 5, and it was a pretty disappointing series with all of the invite spammer stuff. That's why there's a 4-minute delay, by the way, everyone. Just to make it really hard for him to notice when the games are over.
Culverins gonna get focused down by the heavy cannons, sadly. It looks like all of the heavy
One more
cannons
volley.
are gonna live.
Oh, one more volley, and he could have taken out like one and almost maybe 2 of them. With
There
the
might not
area.
be enough goons here, though, to defend them from the Uhlans at this point.
But now he's got no skirms.
Or Uhlans. Or cannons.
Or skirms.
Or gold.
Well, cannons make short work of skirmishes. That's so brutal. Like, it's so disgusting. Heavies is just so good, and it doesn't even matter if he's trading them off, like, because there's just more. There's 2 more. There's 2 more. Like, come on. This is impossible. You have to kill the factories so quickly, or get industrial.
Just imagine if those petards had just gone for the factories instead of that town center. Would have been really good for him.
There's all the things we can imagine.
So many things could have been done differently.
All of the things.
But yeah, at this point, Portugal has stabilized. He's grabbed 2 trading posts for himself. Germany's still stuck in Fortress. You know, there's things like Genitours coming in. We could potentially see Jeanette Dragoons being researched soon. Yeah, it's looking like a rough position for Germany at the moment. The petards are going to try and sneak around the side of the map, but it's going to take a long time to get there. And they're going to have to go through a lot of areas that now have vision. Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I kind of feel sad for him. I don't know what to say. It's just an exhausting series.
Culverins in queue again to deal with the heavy cannons, but there's going to be more heavy cannons out soon.
And it's going to be 4. Yeah, here they are. They've just spawned, both of them.
Yeah, The Batards are sneaking in, though, beelining for that factory. Do 3 Batards take out? I don't think 3 Batards take out a factory, do they?
1600 damage. 1, 2, 3. It's almost dead. But
it's not quite enough, though, and they're also just gonna die.
Also, heavy cannons apparently are super effective against them. Okay, well, that one goes off. Oh my goodness me, this is... He needs, like, a ton of culverins, but that's impossible because there's no gold, and now he's got to make plantations. Oh, he's got 1. He's got 2. Okay, he's got 2 culves. If he's, like, really lucky, then maybe he can snipe the heavy cannons or something. Maybe, to make it fair, Gib has to go AFK for 7 seconds.
I think at this point, I don't know if there's enough he could do in 7 seconds. But, I mean, oh no, the...
Petards can only
that was not as
buildings,
scary of a volley as I thought it might have been.
Okay. Come on.
But,
Culverins.
If he can somehow...
Goons!
No, never mind.
Go away, goons! Go away, goons! And they're dead.
And with the culverins, likely Germany's hope of winning this game. As he's still stuck at Fortress.
It's too... We have 6 heavy cannons very shortly. This is very difficult.
Yeah, this is a rough situation to be in as Germany. Gonna be rebuilding that trading post on the frontier.
And he's just not
for
leaving
both
those,
players.
those
There's gonna be a
heavies.
dog down.
Ah, maybe he can...
If he gets a monitor out, he could kill 1 factor, maybe. Although he has to be really careful because heavy cannons could just destroy him in the pond.
That's true. There's 6 of them, right? Those goons just will not leave those heavy cannons alone. Okay, they're starting to separate. But I feel like that many guard dragoons could just chase down these skirms and like... And so what? Put them in melee mode and get your cannons up close and...
Yeah, it looks like at this stage of the game it's probably just a matter of time, especially as he just walks right in.
That's GG.
Oh, the volley.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. That's, that sucks.
Yes.
Ten dops and like 5 Ulans as well.
I think it was 3 Ulans, but yeah, still a lot.
I saw no pause either.
Yes.
I don't... and... I know, Pérez. I don't doubt it either.
Yeah, it's a sad way to lose. I was quite impressed with how he played this series as well in this game in particular.
Well,
aside from that, so...
The reverse sweep. Pérez 2 points up to 0, and Gib gets the 3 in a row and takes the series. Rather unfortunate final game. It was quite an interesting game, although the overlay was up for a long time. That was because I had a 4-minute delay, because that does make it really difficult for the invite spammer. He has to be paying a lot of attention to the game, and you can never know when a game will actually end, especially with a 4-minute delay. And then it kind of lets us get back. And that kind of worked mostly until the very final game when we had to switch to Game Ranger, and it took us half a bloody hour. But it does feel like the players are starting to get more familiar with it, but it's awkward. Everyone knows how ESO works. Oh, he's got 3 culves as well there. If only he'd, like, saved them up. But even if you have, like, 5 culves, you just can't... The goons are just gonna get you. Anyway,
yeah, it's a really hard composition to deal with.
Yeah, I think... There was that moment where those Jaegers ought to have come to the outpost like you meant, and then if they'd, like, stacked with his skirms, those dragoons that were here fighting the skirmishers just wouldn't have had a chance. There'd be so many skirmishers, and he wouldn't have lost all of the skirmishers in the fight, because without the Jaegers they weren't strong enough. And then maybe the Petards could have actually killed a factory as well, rather than the town centre, and they may have tried to go to the factory if there were more skirmishers. It's just a big chain of events. I think the biggest thing certainly for Pérez, is losing all of those stuffs in the early portion. But the score is 3-2. We have three series today, so quite an intense day. Kaiser Klein cast the first series, and then me and Mitoe the second two. And actually, me and Mitoe will be back tomorrow on the Escape stream with Azamk versus Diaroga, which should be a lot of fun. And that is not a qualification game, but whoever wins will go through to the qualification series. We do on Sunday have Wicked Cossack versus the one and truly Mr. Mitoe, who I'm talking to right now. And that should be a very interesting game. That is a qualification game. And I will not be casting that with Mitoe or Wicked Cossack for obvious reasons. So I think Soldier has stepped up to the challenge. I've never casted with Soldier before, but insightful player, strong player. It'd be good to have him on board and have his thoughts. So I'm pleased that's all worked out. But that's going to be it. Again, apologies for the overlay. And my condolences to Pérez. But that is it from us here at ESOC. And we will see you all again.